Your Corporation Counsel.
It's critically important. The closing is to occur, the funding of the closing on the hospital is to occur tomorrow. Part of it was done, I guess it's called a dry closing, because it didn't have the funds wired today. If this matter does not conclude tomorrow and close, the hospital will not be able to make payroll.
I'm sorry, say that again,
I don't
please.
believe the hospital will be able to make payroll if this matter is not closed, and we need the resolution declaring it an emergency to have the immediate effectiveness of the ordinance that you just adopted to take effect.
So typically the ordinance would hold on. Typically the ordinance would take effect how many days after
20.
passage? 20 days. But this resolution would make it effective immediately. Is that
Yes.
correct? And
Correct.
the reason for the emergency is
To allow the closing to be completed and perfected.
Council President,
okay. Thank you, Councilman Russo.
a follow-up question. The agreement that was just passed, the parking agreement, correct? The parking
Correct.
agreement that was just passed? What does that have to do with payroll?
It has everything to do with the closing of the
No, I'm
hospital
sorry.
sale.
Sorry, what does them paying us to park have to do with them making payroll?
It has everything to do with the closing of the hospital sale.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does. It is part and parcel
Corporation
to a
Council, with
larger.
all due respect, Council voted, the agreement was passed,
Correct.
they know it was passed, but the timing of the agreement has absolutely zero to do with them making payroll.
You're wrong.
No, I'm not.
Mr. Russo, yes, you are.
No,
with all
I'm
respect,
absolutely not.
yes, you absolutely
I
are.
want to know, then
The
please
parking
explain,
agreement is part. I'm
Corporation Council,
trying
then
to, but you
please
keep
explain
interrupting
to
me.
me how that being passed is going to generate revenue for the hospital to make payroll.
It has nothing to do with generating revenue. It has everything to do with the closing of the transaction for the sale of the hospital. This parking agreement is part and parcel to the larger settlement agreement authorized by the court, the bankruptcy court, on October 7th. It was part of a larger transaction. That larger transaction is the sale of the hospital. The financing, or the revenue source is not the issue as to whether the parking agreement is the dollar generated tomorrow for parking is not the dollar that's going to make or break this hospital. This agreement is part and parcel to a larger transaction.
So you're...
That larger I'm trying to answer. That larger
I think
transaction.
you explained it, that's why I
That
thought you
larger
finished.
transaction is closing tomorrow. It will not close without this parking agreement
So your
being in effect.
professional opinion as an attorney, you believe a letter of commitment stating that they have the agreement and within 20 days it's going to take effect is going to hold up a multi-million-dollar closing?
Not only is it my opinion, it was affirmatively told to me by the buyers of the hospital, the attorneys for the hospital.
I'm sure
That's
they
fine.
did tell you that.
That
I'm sure
without
they
this
want
parking
their-
agreement
They want their
being
parking.
perfected,
Sure, they want everything in place.
exactly right. So without it being there, they're not going to close on the hospital.
Fair enough. Any other
Yes.
comments from members of the?
Disagree,
Council.
but I appreciate
That's fair
Again,
enough.
You're
We
entitled to
appreciate
your
your disagreement.
respective opinions. And
Yes.
Cunningham,
Aye.
Cantino,
Yes. No. Did you call my name? Because I didn't hear it. I'm sorry. Castellano, no.
No. Yes. Councilman.
Marsh,
Yes.
Mason,
No.
Mello,
Yes.
Vicky,
No.
Bill,
No.
President Fowler.
Yes.
And that ordinance resolution fails.
It fails.
Adoption.
It's a 2/3 requirement under section 181B.
Okay. And what is the effect or consequence of that vote?
I guess we'll find out tomorrow whether they transferred the money to the hospital to close the transaction.
In 20 days
I'm
it'll
sorry. I'm
pass.
sorry. I didn't
That's,
hear. No, but other effects. I'm not referring to that. That's obvious.
We didn't negotiate the deal.
I didn't hear what Corporation Counsel said.
The ramifications is if they don't close, the money won't be transferred, and the ramifications will be what the ramifications will be. Whether the hospital can't make payroll, well, that'll be the way it goes.
Okay.
the
The next.
for layoffs. The sky is falling. The
The
sky
next-
is falling.
The next resolution
Heard this before.
is a